Okay, so welcome to Open Callers. I am Corey Bullis. With me, as always, is Garth, or Michelle Sheth. And returning once again for more punishment is Ryan Carkner.
Good to be back, guys. Glad I could make it again.
Thank you for clearing your schedule today. I know you were busy with court cases and insurance papers.
All that stuff.
Can I just say the lighting situation is infinitely better?
It will get
On
darker.
point.
It's like, we just got to start earlier. That's all.
Yeah. Next time noon.
Yeah.
I'll just work off work.
We'll actually just record outside. So
Yeah, we'll get a patio in the market and
live on location.
I did move the light from the back corner to the front corner if, shit gets weird.
and if it's too much, move it to the side corner.
into the round corner.
Your room is hexagonal, right? Oh, but we digress. So it is what Wednesday?
Wednesday today.
Wednesday.
Our first Wednesday recording, and with that, we are an hour and a half away from Game 3 of the Western Conference Stanley Cup final matchup.
Final game.
Quarterfinal, semifinal, regional, sectional, featuring the Vegas Golden Knights and the Winnipeg Jets.
Yes, that's right. In May.
That's right. So is Winnipeg Canada's team?
It is now.
Does that
What does
ever
that
really
mean?
truly apply, though? Like,
I really don't
Sure.
think so. I mean, I yes, in the sense that Canadians want a Canadian team to win, but in reality, there's been so many instances where cheering for the American team means you're cheering for more Canadian players.
right?
So then, what do? Cheer for the team that your country is located in, or the team that has the most players that are from the country you're from?
I think I've heard this time around. I think there's more people probably interested in seeing where Vegas goes versus what Winnipeg does.
I'm in that boat.
Because if Winnipeg does win, which at a 1-1 series, it's best of 5 now. We'll see what happens. It'd end our 25-year drought since the Canadian team has won the
It's been
whole
forever.
shebang.
And Canada had a bunch of chances. There was a stretch, I think, before the lockout and maybe just after, where Edmonton was there, Ottawa obviously once.
Yeah, we had Edmonton was there, Calgary was there, we were there, Vancouver was there, and that was all.
That was it, yeah. And 0 for 4. And that was over a stretch of like 5 years.
And I think they all, with the exception of us, went to 7 games.
Yeah.
With the exception of us.
Too bad. So close.
Because we were there, right? We were on the team.
Yeah, obviously.
But as of watching this and seeing the promotions for stuff, I'm wondering, does the NHL miss an opportunity by not referring to it as the NHL playoffs and referring it solely as the championship titles playoffs? Because you have the NBA playoffs, you have the NFL playoffs, you have the MLB playoffs, you have the Stanley Cup playoffs.
That's true. But do they? I can't even try to think back to watching it. It says Stanley Cup playoffs the whole time?
Everything is Stanley Cup playoffs. Even on the ad they put on the ice, it says Stanley Cup playoffs 2018.
Really? Because I guess other than basketball, all of the actual final series has a different name, right? Like the World Series, Super Bowl, Stanley Cup finals, and then NBA is still just the NBA finals.
Well, even in the instance of the NHL, you have the Eastern Conference Stanley Cup finals, or the Stanley Cup Eastern Finals, or Eastern Finals of the Stanley Cup. It's not the NHL Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, and they're not calling it the Western Super Bowl Conference.
Right. It's the NFL or AFC Championship,
AFC,
NFC Championship, the East Final, and everything again. Unless it's the championship
American
game,
National League.
Yeah. Even the CFL, you have your East Division Final, you have your East Semifinal, and then you have the Grey Cup.
Yeah.
But you solely market your playoffs for the NHL as the championship. It's kind of like if you don't know hockey, you're kind of really just it's a niche market you're marketing to.
Yeah, but I mean, it's pretty big. I think
A couple northern states.
Yeah, I would say it's probably. I mean, the people that are watching it have already decided they're okay. Like I guess it's similar to the Avengers thing. People who are going to see Infinity War have seen several of the Avengers movies.
Like Ryan.
Yes. And
the ones all of them opening day.
Still haven't seen. And the ones who haven't seen it are, not really interested in it, and they're probably they're not making the movie for them anyway. And it does seem like, especially in the States, they're it seems like they want to grow for sure, which is why they're putting teams in places like Vegas and stuff like that. And if Seattle gets a team, but I think they know their market, and they know that football's gonna pretty much crush them. Baseball's pretty much gonna crush them. I don't know what else, but I think they're probably just banking on, well, it's the Stanley Cup. This is the logo. We're just gonna stick with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's the World Cup, right? Like, we don't really say like, oh, it's the. Well, we do. We say it's the FIFA World Cup, but like when we refer to it in short, it's the World Cup. We don't really,
Yeah.
We don't elongate that. You could say the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs, but I don't know why waste the time.
It's all about saving money.
Yeah.
Just the extra letters.
Yeah. Nobody wants to write that crap on the ice.
It's not the IOC Olympics.
That's right.
Exactly.
I think my biggest, when it comes to sports, and especially North American sports and their finals, is labeling the winners as world champions.
Oh, that I hate. I can't stand that.
Like just the World Series alone.
Yeah, the World Series, first of all, it's ridiculous. And then, whenever whoever wins the NBA Finals, they'll be the world champions of basketball. It's like, well, not really, but like
we let it slide.
Yeah, if you want to say that, that's fine. But it was like this meme I saw, I don't know, years ago, but it was basically, number of Miss Universe titles. And it was like Earth, 40, yeah. Rest of the universe, 0.
Is Mars even trying? Yeah, that's funny.
We think very highly of ourselves.
Damn dwarf planet.
Yeah, god damn it.
Well, I guess you don't really hear that for the NHL, right? Because they do have the World Championships that go on the same time as.
Yeah, exactly. So they actually do have a World Championship, so they can't say but they just say they're the Stanley Cup champions. But that's their marketing, right? That's what they're just hanging on to that.
I guess the argument to negate that would be what, college ball, where they literally refer to them as national champions.
Yeah, they're, but aren't they national? They're
not world. Like it's the same thing. It's U.S. colleges. They don't call them the world.
Yeah, exactly.
Champions.
Yeah, they're not the world champions. And I mean, I guess they could try and rationalize it by saying, well, there's athletes from all over the world, but really,
they're not getting paid.
Yeah, it's not really the case. Oh no, I mean for professional sports, like even for baseball, there's athletes not just from Canada and the U.S.
That's why I make the argument about having a national anthem before the sporting events, when half the players aren't from that country.
Yeah, exactly.
Who are you doing it for?
Just the fans. They've heard the song before. It's fine.
Yeah, now they're hiring people to sing the songs. And they stop halfway through it, so the crowd sings it. Like,
I didn't come here to hear myself sing the national anthem.
I came here to be on my phone and wear my hat during the national anthem.
God.
So, Dwayne "The Rock" Casey fired a week after we talk about that.
It was like the day. It was like the day after.
Yeah. I literally I came on this show and I said, "Oh yeah, he's not getting fired.
No way.
X, Y, Z, never gonna happen." Sure enough, next morning, gone. Yes, it was.
It's probably because of your assertiveness.
Could have been. Yeah.
It's so ridiculous though. Like how, I mean, okay, it's not ridiculous. I guess it's the easy out, right? Like, it's a lot easier.
Easiest
to
of
fire.
all the outs.
Yeah, like it's a lot easier to fire one person, like the coach, than it is to fire or trade 6 or 7 players.
But did you have to fire anybody? Did you really do you have to get rid, at least at this stage, at least a day after, do you have to get rid of anybody?
I think their reasoning was that they wanted other, yes, they thought Dwayne Casey was an excellent coach, and he still has a lot of coaching left, and they wanted to make sure that other teams had that they had time to get someone, and had other teams had time to recruit him to continue coaching.
I guess giving him I don't know.
Yeah,
I could,
but it's also it's just all ridiculous. He won Coach of the Year. How do you get rid of a coach that won Coach of the Year? You're like, well, maybe we should give him at least one more chance. Maybe.
Get another 50-win season, God forbid.
Yeah, he's only done the most for the Raptors of anyone.
Well, what's the one thing he hasn't done?
Beat LeBron James.
That's why.
But
Yeah.
I mean, you could say that about so many other coaches.
Literally every other coach.
Yeah, every other coach that that's played except for
Golden State.
Steve Kerr.
Steve Kerr, and I can tell you it's not it has a little to do with coaching, but I mean that's a superstar dynasty roster.
Exactly.
It's
I
tell you sorry. They're not gonna win based on Steve Kerr. He's not the coach in the NBA.
Yeah, he did an excellent job in his first few years, but he didn't have to start with a mediocre team and work his way up. He had 3 Hall of Famers to begin with, and then just kept on adding more.
Yeah, he came in on the 50-yard line.
Yeah,
exactly.
But it's obvious that the Raptors situation is just you're dealing with the powers that be twisting somebody's arm to make a move.
Yeah, the
easiest thing to do is get rid of the coach rather than trying to ship out $40-50 million contracts.
Exactly.
Do you think the Raptors have another 50 win season next year?
I think they have. I think they have the players for it for sure. But
it'll come down to again. Beat LeBron. Lose to LeBron.
Get another team to beat LeBron, and then that's when the Raptors make their move.
I think you gotta wait till LeBron goes to the West, at least.
And then meet them in the finals and then lose.
Yeah, at least
is that much better? I
don't know. I don't have all the answers.
Losing in the second round, losing in the finals. I guess it's better to at least make the finals, but if you're just constantly losing to the same person over and over.
Yeah.
Well, what makes it more embarrassing is what the Celtics have done so far with the banged up team.
Yeah, that's true.
Down 0-2. Especially that first game.
Crazy. It was 30 points. That's that's not that easy to do, and especially when it's not from the first to the second round, LeBron James didn't have any time. He was sore, cramps, all that stuff, and then this time he had a few extra days to rest, and maybe that was a thing. You just got to make him not play for a little. Maybe he just forgot for a bit.
Beat them by 30 points. Who do they think they are? The Cavaliers beating the Raptors?
Yeah, come on.
Too soon.
Yeah, it's so bad.
But yeah, I think a couple episodes ago we had that conversation about Jordan versus LeBron, and now was it ESPN and Netflix?
ESPN and Netflix, yeah,
doing a docu-series or documentary.
I think it's just a one-shot documentary. I'm excited. I read his biography. I've watched all his movies, all one of them.
Space Jam.
But you watch it multiple times. It's
but he was my the superstar I watched more than anyone growing up, and So yeah, I read all about
Did
when he
you
was
want to be
younger.
like Mike?
I did, and then I thought someone should write a song about this, because that's pretty motivational. And then I don't know if anything ever happened with that, but I think it would have been pretty catchy. But yeah, I was reading this article and it was basically saying, Michael Jordan's doing this to try and stay relevant because, well, no one really talks about him right now other than having the LeBron James versus Michael Jordan conversation, and that's just pretty much a conversation that goes in circles, and the people that are on Michael Jordan's side are really not going to switch, and the people that are on LeBron James' side aren't going to switch either. But as I was reading that, it did make me think about how, right now we're talking about James and Jordan, but no one's talking about Larry Bird or Magic Johnson, Patrick Ewing, all those guys who, Patrick Ewing less so, but Larry Bird and Magic Johnson were the all-stars of their time. They were the top two dogs of their time. And when Jordan was playing, it was the same thing. They were, being compared to those two. But no one talks about them anymore. And I think that's probably what Michael Jordan's doing is what's going to happen in 20 years, 10, 15 years even, when the next phenom comes and then the conversation turns to LeBron James or this next person. And so all of a sudden, Michael Jordan, who, arguably is the best player that ever played basketball, he's not even in this conversation anymore. So now, it makes sense kind of that he's kind of doing this thing just to put himself back in the conversation and not just having to do with LeBron James. So I'm excited. I'm going to watch it.
I was pro Jordan for a long time. I still am. Like you, I grew up with the Bulls and, watching the documentary basis, known as Space Jam. Great documentary.
Yes.
Just
that's how we got back into basketball. And
back in LeBron's kind of quote unquote early days, you could probably still easily make the argument that, Jordan was still great, 6 rings, all that. I don't think LeBron had any early on until he won his first title. And then he got, a couple with the Heat. Then he moves to Cleveland. He gets one there. And it got harder and harder to defend Jordan, I guess, as time progressed. All the kind of, the pillars for the argument of pro Jordan kind of fell to the wayside as LeBron goes to multiple teams and wins championships, carries a team with, literally no other good players really except himself. It's a little, I short of Kevin Love and maybe like Tristan Thompson, there's no one on Cleveland.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I would argue the side that's more like, I found it as the years go on, I just find it less and less. I find it harder to just like kind of openly like hate on LeBron.
Same
really
here.
Like, early on, I was just like, nope, he's just some punk kid who thinks he's so good and whatever. And then he couldn't win a championship, and then he left, and all that kind of stuff. I was even at the point where he left Cleveland, I was even like, he hasn't done anything wrong. He's never.
He's going to leave again.
Yeah, and he's never in the news or anything for doing something bad. He's not getting into car accidents. He's not, getting high and having people take pictures of him and like whatever. Like anytime you hear about LeBron James, it's about basketball, and it's about him playing basketball. And so then it just got harder and harder to be like, oh man, LeBron James, like, yeah, you're great, but you're not going to be as good as Michael Jordan. I still think that. I still think.
What would it take? What would it take for you to put that Debate to bed. If he went to a different team and won a championship, 3 different championships in 3 different cities, is that enough for you?
I don't think so. I think it's
Really?
more so. Well, it's more so the fact that when Michael Jordan played, nobody beat him. You know,
nobody beat the Bulls.
Nobody beat the Bulls.
I heard an interesting stat today. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Jordan was 1-9 in playoff games. 1-9 until Pippen arrived.
Yeah,
think about that for a second.
But he also so he got into league 83, 84. And then he was injured for his second season. Got the Bulls to the playoffs for the first time. You know, he kind of had the same progression that James had, you know, like when James got to Cleveland, it's not like they just went to the playoffs right away. When they finally did get to the playoffs, they lost the first couple of rounds, you know, all that kind of stuff. And that same sort of thing happened with Michael Jordan. I think 1989 was like one of his best. They got to like conference finals or something. But then 91 happened, and up until then, and there were some excellent players that like won't ever get their due because they weren't able to win championships. And it's because of Michael Jordan and the Bulls. Whereas LeBron James is playing, but he's not the only one winning championships. Whether he's winning with different teams and whatnot, like that's fine. But there are other good players that are also winning championships. And that wasn't the case with Michael Jordan. There was excellent players, Hall of Fame players, and a bunch of them, not just 1 or 2. And they didn't get a chance to win because Chicago and Michael Jordan beat them. Patrick Ewing, Karl Malone, John Stockton, like all those guys are, they're not household names anymore because they didn't win anything, and it's only because they played at the same time as Michael Jordan. Whereas all these other players are playing at the same time as LeBron James, but people know who they are and will remember who they are in
will they when we have this conversation in say like 10 years.
People will, in 10 years, people will remember that Steph Curry won a bunch of championships.
I think Golden State is the exception to the rule here. Are we going to remember, Dirk on the Mavericks?
Dirk's still playing?
Case in point. Are we going to remember like anyone, like, do you think we're going to really talk about...
Okay, how's to counter that? When Dirk was winning championships, that was early on in LeBron's run, right?
Does he only have? I could be wrong in this. Doesn't he only have the one?
Yeah,
I thought he had.
Mavs only won one time.
I thought they got. Well, they did. They got close a couple times.
And they snuck by with that title.
And yeah,
like it was a sneak.
But I would say that Michael Jordan's kind of 91 to 98 run is LeBron James's 2011 to now run. And in that time, it's not like he himself is pretty unstoppable, but he's I don't know, maybe he just doesn't have the supporting staff that Michael Jordan had. But
I think that's
I don't think Michael Jordan had a huge supporting staff. He had Pippen, and then it was like a rotating
Rodman, Kerr.
Yeah, but again, not for all 6.
No, people came and went.
Exactly.
But he had a staff.
He had some staff.
LeBron's sweeping teams with himself and Kevin Love.
That's true.
Kevin Love missing his jumper. Kevin Love. He's not even playing well.
I still think that, I don't know, again, this is probably, I'm biased in the sense that I grew up with Michael Jordan, and
I want to take your side of the debate.
Yeah.
I want to take your side. Like, I want to be like on your side of the camera being like, yeah, no, he's right. But the overwhelming evidence that I'm starting to see, despite my best efforts, and LeBron's still got 5 years left. Like, I don't know if we talked about this.
If he keeps playing, if he keeps getting to the finals, I don't know if he does have 5 years left. He's playing an extra 30 games, an extra 30 games every season.
Yeah.
Well, to bookend the debate, we'll also make the argument that LeBron doesn't really play at all during the season. He phones it in until the playoff starts.
That's true.
He has the ability to light it up at that point. I don't think Jordan did, but at the same time, we've spent 45 minutes on this.
Yeah, that's true.
And we're just going in circles. So let's switch gears again. Since we were talking about childhood bias, there's been an update in the Toys R Us bankruptcy. I don't know if you guys saw this, but they're selling off all their assets at this point now. So that includes Jeffrey the giraffe. But the interesting part of the article I saw was some domain names that they're selling off. Some of which are as follows: Burgers R Us, Cigars R Us, Toys R Us Sucks.
They have that one?
Yeah, and Adult Toys R Us. So, yeah. I know it's not happening in Canada because they're separately owned by another company, but I guess this goes back to, our conversation before about Best Buy and the brick and mortar stores being kind of obsolete at this point. But do you think more so specialty stores are kind of donezo with the rise of the tech giants?
I kind of feel like toy stores and stuff like that. I feel like you
need the hands-on.
Yeah, you need the hands-on. You need to check it out a little bit more than you do with electronics, especially with the rise of YouTube reviews and stuff like that. You can know pretty much everything about. OnePlus just launched a phone today. I know everything about it, watching a handful of reviews and their live stream, but no, I'm sure there's also a whole area of YouTube that reviews toys and board games and
do that and make millions.
Yeah, and all that too. And I guess maybe I'm just not part of that, but I feel like when I'm going to look at toys or new board game or something, that's not something I'm ordering online. I'm going to get it. But that's my side. I think that I think it's easier also to go shopping at a toy store and look around, not knowing what you want, versus going to Best Buy not knowing what you want. I think going to Best Buy not knowing what you want I assume is overwhelming for people.
Well, the other argument with these brick and mortar stores is to try and save business, that they're also, in some respects, price gouging. You'll find something that Toys R Us far more expensive than you would at a Walmart or on Amazon.
Oh, absolutely.
Right, yeah, for sure.
And again, that's not really the fault of the store. It's more the vendors obviously taking advantage of the stores themselves. But I don't know, it's just, it's sad to see that the generation, or I guess my kids' generation, are not going to have that kind of luxury of strolling into a store that's just for them. Because I think about FAO Schwartz and some other toy stores in the States that have also gone under, while they have closed lots of Targets and Walmarts and all that stuff. They're just shedding businesses out there.
Yeah.
That's sad.
It sucks. I mean, I'm glad that it's not happening right away in Canada, because it's still
it's coming.
It's coming for sure. But I'm glad that it's still here for now, because, like I said, if I'm looking for stuff, it's a lot easier going to a Toys R Us and having just a dedicated store just for that.
Yeah, when I go to Toys R Us, 9 times out of 10, it was to look at all the new yearly Lego kits that came out.
Yeah.
So I was just thinking too, again, talking about price points, how they're insane for some of these kits, like the Death Star or the Millennium Falcon, like $700-800. But
that Falcon was.
Do you think they've got a little nuts on
for sure
licensing and branding now versus having just I remember when I was a kid having a box of Lego and building my own X-Wing fighter out of any pieces that I could find.
Yeah.
Now for $229.99, I can go buy a Lego X-Wing fighter, follow the instructions and put it together, and hey, I'm done.
I feel like
imagine I'm 32, so I shouldn't be doing that anyway.
Has Lego gone too far?
I feel like it's. I mean,
it's licensing, right? It's
That's how they make their money, I
It's
guess.
Disney.
Well,
Disney
used to
just
have like Lego this guy, Lego that, like Lego Space, Lego Sequest. Like it was just
Lego Legolas.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say it. I bit my tongue. Yeah.
and now you got Lego Harry Potter, Lego like Lego Frozen, Lego Friends, like all these different lines. You name it, it's Lego.
Lego movies.
Lego my ego.
Stranger Things.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think well I don't know if I guess this would be generalizing and whatever, but like, you know, it might, especially for things like Lego and stuff. When I had someone when I was a kid, it was like I didn't really have sets. I just had blocks, and it could turn into whatever, and just depended on how
you were only limited by your imagination.
Exactly, and now
the number of pieces you had.
It seems like there's less kind of free Lego stuff out there, and more just Legos that are designed specifically to be, you know,
For
an X-wing or a Star Wars.
And like if you buy your big box of Lego that they have, it's just literally like the bricks. Like you don't get really many wheels or wings or anything. It's just okay. You can build a building and then you're done.
Yeah, I built a tower.
It's 2 feet high, guys.
Yeah,
I had 7 pieces.
But I don't like it's. I think all the Legos I've had in the last 5 years, even, have all been
licensed, right?
Yeah, like set wise. Licensed for sure. And I think all of them except for like 2 sets have been Star Wars. And a Star Wars advent calendar, Lego advent calendar.
Pretty much. Yeah, I can't reach mine, but that's pretty much what I have had.
Yeah.
That and Lego Superheroes. Ryan's favorite.
Of course.
There's no Lego in my house, unfortunately.
That is
but there's an open closet. That's the sequel series to our podcast, Open Closet.
That's the After Dark series.
Wow. Keeping with the childhood bandwagon. So we're 4 months away now from Nintendo launching their online services. You see the pricing for that?
$25 a month or a year. Sorry.
Yeah, $4.99 a month. I think $9.99 for 3 months, and then $24.99. But the caveat again: no virtual console like on the Wii and the Wii U. Does that change your subscription?
I'm getting it.
Oh yeah,
I'm getting it for sure.
Because that's like a third of the cost versus like an Xbox Live or PS Plus.
Their Xbox Live and stuff is what, like 60, 80?
I think something like that for a year.
It's like the price of a game, right?
Yeah.
And games are, $70, $80. But I think this just, I think it'll be nice. It'll also hopefully entice more games to be multiplayer. Like right now we play Mario Kart once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it. NBA, when we both had it, we did that a couple times, but I think it'll maybe get more games other than Splatoon to be a better multiplayer experience. And then on top of that, getting, because they're going to do like game rental things, right? Like you're going to get a couple of games a month that you can play.
As long as you are paying for the online subscription, you're getting access to whatever game is releasing. I think they're launching with some NES titles and
20 NES titles.
Yeah.
And a bunch of, I think I saw a list of 10 of them that were multiplayer. And so there's like, I think like a Tetris or a Dr. Mario, some other ones, Mario, stuff like that. So I think even that will be fun, like playing Mario or something like that, just remotely with someone else is a good call. And then I don't have to keep my NES Classic plugged in,
which is also sad.
Yeah, that's good. Oh, then they're re-releasing the NES Classic in June, apparently. So if you don't have a Switch or don't want to do the virtual console or the online subscription, you can just get the NES Classic and play that and have claw hands from the controller.
Oh, gaming. Unless it's what League of Legends, Ryan, you're not having it, eh?
Yeah,
StarCraft.
I haven't even played StarCraft. I played a bit of StarCraft. Like
no, he's
maybe
playing
2 months
Minecraft.
ago.
Minecraft. Yes,
I definitely don't have Minecraft. I don't think I've had an
Fortnite.
Xbox Live subscription since like Halo 2.
The TFT days.
Yeah.
Or the TFT days. That would have been it.
That was fun.
That was a good time. Singular. That one time.
That one time that happened.
I think we played like all of 3 games.
The Smiley Coyotes.
Yeah.
Did you also see that 2019 will see the final nail in the PS Vita coffin get hammered in?
You must be sad.
Oh, mine's gone.
Oh yeah.
Their game card production will cease in 2019. So there might be the occasional, PS Plus game into it or a digital download, but
no more physical games or no more physical cartridges.
Like it was fine when I had it. It was fine. I got more use out of it when I ended up getting a PlayStation 4 and used it as the kind of like a Switch, like a handheld, right?
Yeah,
remote play to it. But no, like I just they can't get the handhelds right. Same with the PSP. Hells yeah.
Yeah,
they couldn't do that either. 2001 reference.
Yeah.
Or
I think,
2007. No,
I think Nintendo
definitely
hit it out of the park with the Switch. They figured out that they don't need 4K graphics and just like the crazy high end, processing power and all that. Like everyone has short attention spans now. No one wants to sit down and play a 3-hour long campaign of anything. But if you can pick up and go or play on the TV and then pick it up and just continue playing, it's a huge sell. And that's my main thing is I'll be playing on the TV and I just want to play for 5 or 10 more minutes, but I want to be in bed at the same time, and it's perfect for that.
Sorry, I stopped listening.
You stop listening after want to be in bed.
Is that an option?
That's for the
that's the open closet
for the open closet podcast.
Michelle, you'll dig this. I saw it today marks the 25th anniversary of the series finale of Saved by the Bell.
I saw that.
How old are we?
More than 26.
Yeah.
I've been Funny or Die, the YouTube channel.
Yes, I know where you're going with this.
Has just one of the best series, and it's called Zach Morris's Trash, and it's hilarious. It just kind of goes.
It's hilarious because it's so true.
It's so true, and you notice it. You know that he's
just awful.
He's an asshole all the time, but it gets played off so easily with all the other fluff in the episode. My two favorite
that I saw that I remember watching is the Christmas one with the homeless girl.
That's the one I was gonna say.
And the swimsuit calendar.
Oh, mine was gonna be the one where he gets caught driving drunk.
Oh yeah,
Lisa's mom's car. He does so much stupid stuff and is super selfish, and he's just an asshole. And then because it's like a after school show, everything works out fine. There's a moral at the end of the story, and it's always like, oh, okay, well, looks like you got detention for 3 days.
Oh, shucks, guys.
Yeah.
No social media back then.
Yeah. The Christmas one is definitely the best. Like, it's the one where he's so I hate him. It's unbelievable. But anyway, check that out. Zach Morris's Trash on YouTube.
Yeah, that's great. That and also the
Driver's
Ed one.
Which one? Oh
Where
yeah,
the driver's head, where like he gives Kelly like the friendship ring because they're friends, and then he just immediately treats her like he's his property. Yeah. Do you see the ring here, guys? And then like he scams on Slater because you get his driver's license in a day, and rather be like a normal person who would be excited that your friend has the ability to drive a car.
Yeah, he's like, what can I do to ruin
Destroy him? And then cause that accident that leads Kelly to like a concussion that no one seems to care about. Just takes 2 aspirin, you're good to go, kid. But yeah, 25 years ago that ended. And time is not kind.
There was another, and so a couple of weeks ago, 10 days ago, was so May 6th, 2004, was it? 2002?
That's 2018.
2004 was when Friends ended, and May 6th happens to be one of my friend's birthdays, and I remind him every single year that the day he was born was the day that Friends died. Dick.
Sad.
He killed Friends. It is his fault. I agree. Tim, if you're watching, it's all your fault. We're not friends anymore.
I think it was Jennifer Aniston's fault. She wanted to go do movies that she's not doing anymore.
Even when it was her.
Even when it was Tim, we knew it was Jennifer Aniston.
Even when it was the Bears.
Everything just cycles back. You can we catch the new Predator teaser trailer?
I saw a thing for it. I didn't watch it, but
Ryan, has there been anything you've given 2 shits about that we've talked about here, except for bashing on Jordan?
I can talk about LeBron and the open closet. That's about it. That's all I got.
He ain't gonna be back for a 3rd episode. I just thought it was interesting. An interesting take on what they plan on doing with the movie, but I guess this leads to a whole discussion of
are there ever going to be any new movies?
Saved by the Bell ending and just everything coming back, or they're making sequels but rebooting the franchises, and it's just
like, no one has. It's just like everyone's just kind of
same with TV, right? Every TV show.
We know this was good, so we're just going to run with it. But it's I don't know. More recently,
like, hey, you guys remember this, right? Go watch another one.
Yeah, but the more recently, the ones that I've had kind of the most connection to, I guess, the things that I've really enjoyed are ones that do things just a little bit different. Like Stranger Things I think it's a good mix of nostalgia because it's running in
it's an original idea paying homage to stuff that we watched years and years ago.
Yeah, but they do it in a they're not just copying something, they're taking little bits of a lot of things, whereas sitcoms now it's just like a cookie cutter thing. You have the same 4 people in every show. It's the same 4 or 5 people,
and if there's a kid, he's got to make a fart joke.
That's right. There's always got to be one Asian guy now, one Indian guy, one black guy. Like it's less,
and he has to be a toking black guy.
Yes, exactly. So but yeah, that's why I found something like Stranger Things. I thought was really good. Did you guys watch what's it called? Dark? I think it was called Dark on Netflix.
Is that the one, without spoiling it, like it has a weird start, like the dude like offs himself or something, like in the first episode, and it has like subtitles.
Yeah, it's basically it's like German.
That's it.
Stranger Things, but like also not.
I think that's how it was like described. I looked it up, and I don't think.
Is it German by chance?
Yeah, it was basically like the way I found it was basically like The Verge was saying, "Hey, if you like Stranger Things, you're gonna love this show," and I was like, "Well,
because you watched this."
Yeah, but that was another one that was good, and
because you watched Saved by the Bell,
because you hate Zach Morris.
Yeah.
Right.
What else you got, Core?
Have I got plenty? But I think all that's for another day. I think we've
we done good.
Wasted a lot of people's time. Or so yours, I find.
Yeah.
But
next time Ryan picks the topic list.
Well, I was going to get into sports betting. That
did get legalized.
Esports, but
the Supreme Court voted down the federal law banning all states, and now it's up to the states to decide what they want to do with it.
Yeah.
A lot of teams think that's going to increase their franchise's value.
You're welcome, New Jersey.
Well, I guess then the topic will be how that really affects Canada, but that remains to be seen. But not to end on the summer note, but we did lose Margot Kidder this week, so
yes, that was
Lois Lane.
sad.
I know a lot of people
All
say
right,
she's the first Lois Lane, but don't forget there was a George Reeves serial back in like the 50s. So there was a Lois Lane, but still, she's the feature film. Yes,
she was our first Lois Lane.
Well, we were born in the 70s.
Well,
I had to make the argument that Terry Hatcher would probably be our generation's first Lois Lane.
Well, I watched those Superman. Like I watched the Christopher Reeve Supermans before I watched the Dean Cain Superman series.
Lies.
Not a lie.
Just the first two, right? You didn't throw in Superman 3 or Superman
all the Supermans. But then, Terry Hatcher came around, and I was like, yeah, you could be my Lois Lane.
You're all right.
I'll allow it.
It's all good. But sadly that happened. I know we are, with the exception of Ryan, we are big superhero fans here. So rest in peace, Margot Kidder.
Moment of silence.
Yeah.
That you just ruined my talking. So moving on. So that's it. Thanks for listening. That's Soap and Collar for this week. For Michelle Sheth, Ryan Carkner, this is Corey Bullis saying, keep it casual.